Okay. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to our project here in Lagunav, Haiti, Ansaya Galets. We just finished our 10th day, and we're going to spend an hour or so talking to some key figures, touring the site and the campground, as well as going through the construction techniques that we're using here and checking out the progress. So let me just get this wheelbarrow put away, and maybe we'll go check out the tool room. This is where we store the tools at night. So, bit of a mess right now, but this is our tool room. We have a lock on the door, so secure tool storage. Over here, we have our bottle brick making area where Yada is finishing up some bottle bricks for the day. So this is where we stage all the glass bottles to be cut. And we have our offcuts over here. This corner is where we stage all the plastic bottles and also all the garbage that we use for insulation of our thermal mass walls. All right. Let's roll back out here. It might be closed by now. Here's our cement storage. This is our delivery truck, motorcycle truck, moto truck. So Deborah drives this, and other people to go get us all our supplies from the hardware stores, and water, and food for the camp, food for lunches. That's our main gate. And we lock that up at night. And it rolls open, and the whole compound has this nice stone wall around it. Walk over here. It's locked up. This is the kitchen where a local woman and her team, Carol, make us all lunches. So let's cruise over here, and I wanted to introduce, maybe cool if you stand in front of me. Introduce everybody to Kelly. Kelly is the founder of the school and the nonprofit. And so, Kelly, I'd like you maybe to give us a couple minutes and explain, as long as you want, actually, a little bit of the history and how we met and when this all got started.
Okay, great. I'll start with the school. Our school is a specialized program where we take children between 9 and 12 years old who have never been in school before. And we take them on a fast-track 3-year program to get them to the 6th grade matriculation exam, which is a national exam to move on to secondary education. The national average for passing that exam is 20%. We, after the first year, had 62% passage, and since then, every year for the last 7 years, 100% passage rate, which we're very proud of. The children would otherwise grow up to be illiterate adults. The literacy rate in Haiti is 52%. So we're making a dent in the literacy situation in Haiti, which we're very proud of. I first met Phil in 2011 in Port-au-Prince on a build that they were doing to show, demonstration build to show how Earthship huts could be earthquake proof and hurricane proof. And I talked to them about the possibility of building a school on our property. And Michael Reynolds at the time asked if we owned the property, which we didn't. So I had a 5-year lease with an option to buy. And after that lease was up, we did buy. And so since the purchase of the land, I've been trying to get Earthship to come, and finally they're here. We planned for 2 years ago, or a year ago, and we had some civil unrest in the country that prohibited building. And then next was COVID, which prohibited the next stage. And then here we are now, and it's an amazing project, and I'm so pleased to have Earthship and the people from around the world who've come to build with us, and the Haitian team too. Teaching the Haitians how to build like this is an incredible, incredible event. So I'm really pleased to be here and have Phil with us and the Earthship crew and team. Let's see what else. We're hosting 25 people who are camping on the beach behind me, which is really lovely. And we have a nice atmosphere here. And we have the 18 Haitians who come every day and lunch with us. We socialize with them outside of the walls, and we go out and have dinner every night. And it's been a really amazing experience for the local Haitians to have all of these foreigners come in and model something as exquisite and sustainable and amazing as an Earthship classroom and school. So that's that. Thank you, Phil.
All right. Thank you, Kelly. So we just stopped working. We work pretty much 7 to 4. We're on Eastern Standard Time, so we literally just quit working. But I wanted to, before some of the local crew takes off, just want to introduce you to just a couple of the guys that are out here working super hard every day right beside us. We also have classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so from about 9 to 11, we have a translated class into Haitian Creole, basically covering like the 6 points. Today we had a construction techniques class that Dan taught, and I did a recycled and repurposed materials, and hopefully going to Zoom Mike in here next week, do a history class. But first I wanted to grab Fritzner here, and just sort of wanted you to kind of talk about your take on what we're doing and whatever you want to say. Fritzner,
So,
thank you.
I'm happy to meet Philip. I'm happy to meet the team was coming to work together and learn the Asian people for what we can do to do. So we are very happy for everything. So I would like for the organization Healthship would like to come back to learn the people and make it more construction, because we need that and we need to learn more, you know. And then I would like a team to have 2 people in the team, Asian team, going everywhere we work and learn more practice and come to work together with the Asian people. So I I say thank you for everyone, each one for coming together or to help the people in the Iceland. So we love you, and we'll still pray for God give us the opportunity or still come back to help the Iceland. Okay? God bless you. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, man. Thanks for your hard work today, too.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Always.
All right. And you have another.
Okay. All right.
You have no problem if you speak Creole to explain
Yeah.
everything. You can parler Creole, you can expliquer.
Okay.
Okay.
This is Prophet, and he's going to sort of just explain what your experience has been and whatever you've been learning.
Pou ka ba yon ti eksplikasyon de ki eksperyans nou avèk sa nan fè a, son apren, pou ka di nepot son. Son senti.
Bon, c'est une bonne expérience pour moi, parce que c'est la première fois.
This is a big experience for me because it's the first time I do something like this.
Like you live in a réunion, qui était dit, construction fait la caoutchouc, j'étais vraiment intéressé parce que je battais ça.
When Kelly told me about this construction, that she was building a structure with tires, I was very interested because I had never heard of that before.
C'est une raison de battre toute force moi et tout temps tout.
That's one of the reasons that I've been working so hard. I wanted to make sure that I learn all this that's going on.
J'espère même que tu as fait deux pas là et que tu as fait continuité avec l'expérience que nous avons.
And I'm hoping that I can use this in the future and that this will serve me later. I want to thank you guys very much because everything that I'm learning here is making me smarter. And when anything was happening that I didn't understand, I felt comfortable enough to ask questions, and everybody answered me and gave me good answers. Everything's gone very well so far, and I'm very happy to see this going on.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. And hold on. And this is Patrick. He's one of our volunteers, but he has also been roped into to being our translator because Patrick speaks Creole. And what else you got going on? I heard, don't you have like a maybe future project in Haiti?
Yeah, I have a project. I have a lot of land, so I'm hoping that at some point I can do something with Earthships here. And as much as possible. So I'm trying to learn so I can teach others.
He's been going way out of his way. Basically we got a setup where we're building a hut that's about a week ahead of one right nearby. And so the first week, everybody worked together, and I got the local team trained up on tire pounding and blocks. But now the local team and Patrick is basically the team leader. Whether you want it to be or not, but others like Prophet has kind of stepped up, and I feel like a couple other guys have kind of taken the reins too. But anyway, they're taking this other building and just sort of mimicking exactly what has been done on the first one. So it's one way to transfer the knowledge pretty effectively because we're not in there, grabbing all the tools up or trying to go fast or taking over, where we're trying to let the local team go ahead and build one basically on their own with us sort of watching and interjecting here and there. So Patrick's basically been key to that process, working at all. So thanks.
You're welcome. It's been my pleasure. Again, I'm here to help out in any way I can. And I have seen that these guys are really getting it. Actually, letting them work on their own has been very beneficial. So I think it was a good plan.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Well, let's go take, we got any, nothing. All right. So if anybody has any questions, we've got our chat open. And I believe under the video, we've got a donate button that goes to Phil's fundraiser for Biotexture Planet Earth. That's been doing really well. Thank you, all of you. Got almost 100 different donors and over $12,000. It's been a big part of why this has been a success. We get a little feedback here. Okay. So anyway, there's a donate button there. Go ahead and please donate. I mean, it's because of these donations, and we're talking. This is like a grassroots effort. You know what I mean? This is we got no big sponsorship. We have no kind of grant or any like Coca-Cola or anybody like that. We got no corporate donations here. This is like a totally tiny little, you know, couple hundred people have made donations, being either making a donation and coming here and volunteering. Like we've got about 15, 16 all over here who actually paid money to come here and work. I mean, it's just an amazing volunteerism effort, as well as people, mostly past students and people at the house and taken the academy and done internships. So, you know, we've got 100 people making little tiny donations. So anything will help us, you know, and then as well as Kelly's organization, Greater Good Haiti, has also pulled together a bunch of donations to make this thing happen. And so it's a total partnership between our biotech nonprofit, Kelly's nonprofit, Greater Good Haiti. You know, we've teamed up on this. We've combined money together and made it happen. You know, it gives me like kind of goosebumps as I think about all the different people that are making this thing happen. So anyway, thank you so much. And if you want to donate again or donate for the first time, well, we're ready for your donations. All right, let's go check out what a typical camp situation looks like. So let's go this way. So this is camp. Everybody is set up, has their tent set up. Let's go deep into camp. This isn't my side of camp, but maybe they'll let me go in here. So yeah, this is it. We got gravel camping area. Got a little screened in crew spot. There's Moeen, who some of you know, just got off work, having a nice coconut water, it looks like.
Yeah.
All right. Mo's been doing an amazing job here. So haven't gotten to work with him in a while, but it's always a pleasure to work with Mo.
My pleasure.
All right. So this is it. It's not so bad. We got literally steps from the water here. You know, it's a gravel beach. We have a little shower area back here. Kelly lives in this little 10 by 10 building over here. Everybody else is just camped out. I want to make set up. This is the chicken coop over here. But yeah, they're never in there. They're always out and about or up in the trees, and the roosters like to crow at about well, all night long, I think it seems like. So yeah, it's very simple. You know, we have bucket showers. We have some bucket toilets. Not really much else to do except for sleep and build Earthships, which works out pretty good. Okay, let's scroll over here. So yeah, I think this is the first webinar we've done that's kind of like in the field, sort of interactive walk around, which hopefully is going to be fun for everybody instead of just sitting down and showing slide after slide after slide. So anyway, the new format. Question. This is the existing classroom area, and that's also kind of turned into our lunch spot, dinner spot, and pretty much everything spot here. Let's walk up here and check it out. We got a little kitchen area temporarily. There's all our drinking water. We have like dinner and lunch sign up board here. This is our weekly schedule. Looking forward to the clothing optional African dance that's on the board. This is our academy classroom. Like I said, we are doing classes. So just got a digital projector and a little screen there made out of a sheet. So this works as a classroom for us. And so this is the other end of camp. Oh wait, let's set up Kaba real quick.
Oh God, yeah.
This is Kaba. He's basically in charge of the school grounds and basically takes care of everything and everybody. All right. Thank you, Kaba. This other end of camp. Kaba and his crew in these rooms. This is the toilets. We have some stalls in there and bucket flush toilets, just like in the simple survivals. Bucket flushing. Nobody will let me camp over there, so this is my camp. So yeah, they made me over here by the burn pile. This is just where I'm at. Okay. All right, let's go check out the build. All right, so like I said, we are here. This is basically day 10. So we're a little over a third of the way through. So we got lots of time. But I just wanted to sort of take everybody through the build process. So I think we'll go over here start by looking at the first part of the building, and then we'll Deb, is there a way you could get the drawings? I forgot them. They're in the shed. Thank you. So let's go in this. So yeah, this is one of the classrooms, and this is how we start. We have a center pin here, and then with tape measure we pull a 10-foot diameter. Radius. It has 20-foot diameter. So we lay out our big tires on the bottom. These are like 265 R16s. And pound those in gravel. The reason why we use gravel is because it doesn't pull moisture up into the wall. So if it was dirt, let's say we had some flooding here, which is bound to happen. Hurricane rules. This is going to see water. This might see, this much water. So we actually did 2 courses with gravel. That prevents water from and then we do the rest of the courses just with kind of dirt. That's pretty much what we have here is kind of crushed limestone. So we have to buy this and bring it. It's pretty affordable. It's like $40 a truckload. And this is just crushed limestone, and they even put it through a crusher to get it to this sort of rough finding. And then we pound the rest of the tires with that. So you can see these are done with the crushed limestone, but the bottom 2 our gravel. And this gravel is actually made because they have a more dense rock here. And then the people actually break it up by hand. So it's a bit more expensive. It's more like $100 a truckload or something like that. And it's hand broken. So this design is all about being hurricane resistant, earthquake resistant. One of the ways that we achieve this earthquake resistance is that some of you are familiar with how we do half blocks. What's all that background noise? We do concrete half blocks, and we do that in a condition where we have a half tire, where a tire wall comes and ends, to a vertical end. We end up with a half tire condition, so we often pour a block. Well, here, not only do we do a half block, but then instead of putting a full tire on top of the half block, we actually omit that full tire and we do another concrete pour. And so what this does then is gives us a solid concrete column on either side of the door and the window openings. Then this steel right here and that solid column pour goes up into the bond beam, which goes all the way around, and it's circular all the way over the door and over the window. And that, really gives us this super strong circular structure. So you're seeing a lot more concrete blocks here. And, we're faced with some challenges as usual. For example, we don't have metal lath, what we usually form concrete blocks with. So the team has had to improvise. It's always the most fun part. And we use this hardware cloth, which is pretty flimsy. But then we have these like rebar ribs, that we put all the way around it and then tie through the ribs on the side. And that contains it and gives us a pretty decent looking concrete block pours. So it's a column. We do one layer of concrete pack out pretty much right away, just to help it fill in any gaps we ended up with, and it really stabilizes the wall. We do that on both sides. Here we have a definite improvisation. We were unable to get cooling tubes. So, usually we use galvanized metal culverts. We've used concrete cooling tubes. We use like clay tubes and all these other different kinds of tubes. But anyway, basically here, no tubes. So we actually are forming a rebar arch that's going to become the cooling tubes. So we're basically making our own cooling tubes this time out of rebar and hardware cloth, and it's just going to be an arch. It's about 16 by 16 inches, which is the same size as our 16-inch diameter cooling tube we use, counter and the other models. So now we're just gonna make them. So pretty good solution. That of course was from the genius of Michael Reynolds. That solution, which is certainly one of Mike's specialties, figuring out what to do in a situation that you're not used to. So we've had to pour blocks on either side of that. Of course, this isn't an opening all the way to the bond beam, so that's basically it. Now we'll just continue tires right across that and keep going tires. This one is going to get 7 layers of tires, 7 courses of tires. The first one we did had 8. But it's a little tall, so we're going to try reducing this to 7, but we might not. I mean, this is kind of how it is in the field. We sort of feel it out and try to make good off-the-cuff decisions to increase efficiency and speed up the build. So this is the one that the local team is taking themselves. And I tell you, it looks every bit as good as what we did on the first one. I mean, I swear maybe even, don't let the through here this, but maybe even a little bit better. I just, the team is, well, they've been trained and they're just talented people and they're good at it. So, the goal here is that maybe in the future that the trained team can just do it without us. That would be the end goal here. All right, so this gives us how this thing starts. Now, let's go look at the rebar dome. Because nobody's watching. Okay. All right. So this is how we begin the rebar dome. So what we do is we build it on the ground, then we lift it up in the planks onto the tires. So we find a center point like we have there. And then we measure out to what is going to be the middle of the tire wall. So in this case, it's like 22 feet 4 inches is the diameter. So 11.2 then is the radius. So we have that center pin and then we draw a line in the dirt at a radius of 11.2. We put in these little pins all the way around in the radius every 2 feet. And then we actually level them. We put a level on top of the pins. We get them all level. That way we can build the base, in a nice spot. We attach the bottom ring to our nice level circle. Then we go about every 2 feet and we put in a rebar L. The 24 inch by 24 inch L. You wire that onto the bottom ring, and that's how you start these things. Meanwhile, in the middle, we elevate up a 2-foot circular hub, is what we call it, and we have a dimension on that. And let me show you this drawing, which kind of describes right here. So that's kind of our reference drawing. And this starts to give us a dimension for how high it is. Here it is. And it's from the tire, it's 7 feet to the top, but this thing sits a few inches. So, it's like 6'8" or something like that. That's how high we elevate the hub. And so we elevate the hub on this temporary wooden tower. And we get that hub nice and level. So we have a circle on the bottom with these L's attached to it, and we have a circle on the top. And then we start running all these vertical arcs. And we try to keep them straight. And they basically run tangent to that hub. And so, it's kind of an eyeball thing. The goal is to more or less eye them straight from the bottom ring right beside and tangent to the top hub circle. Every feet maximum. We get all those in. Then we run these rings. So some horizontal rings. And we space those at 2 feet as well. And we ring, all the way up. And that's the basic part of the cage. Then remesh. This is 8-inch by 8-inch remesh, or you could use 6x6 or 4x4 or whatever you can get. But it does want to be like this heavy gauge wire. And we wire that onto the rebar cage. Once we have that done on the outside, then on the underside, which we haven't done on this one yet, we put that same 1/4-inch hardware cloth and we tie it at every single intersection of the remesh, tight up against the underside of the rebar cage. And that's it. Usually takes, it'll take 3-4 days to build this thing. It's a lot of tying. And then we actually get the whole group, and we just did it a couple days ago. We get the whole group and we cut these ties all loose. Then we slowly lift it up, and then we just take it over the building and pop it right on. It's not quite as easy as it sounds, but it went on just fine this time. Right.
We have a question.
Okay, we got a question.
Active, passive.
Okay, this is the question asking if this is active or passive. And that's a good question. And I guess it's referring maybe to how the building stays cool. But always in the Earthship world, we are going for passive systems. So this place is going to be cooled passively, and we'll go in the more finished one, and I'll show you how that's achieved. But yes, this is going to be passively cooled, and we generally shy away from mechanical systems. But that's a great question. Thank you. And I'm ready for more questions. That way I don't have to hear myself talk the whole time. Okay. So as the dome is being built for Hut 2, we also have under construction the window box. So this today was built with Dan and the local team. So each one of this, the local team built that one, that dome with guidance from Moeen, and the local team then is building this with guidance from Dan. And so it's all nailed together. There's screws aren't really a thing here. And it's all like rough sawn, chunky. It's pine, 2x4 rough sawn, which is actually we can get quite easily. This one is being porcupined, and it's covered in plastic, so as moisture sits on the masonry, it doesn't soak into the wood and rot it. Then we will treat this with some kind of wood seal, which we definitely need to get on our list sometime. And it's expected that this may eventually go away, and potentially in this climate, but it's really just a frame to hinge a window and door too. It's not a structure element. So that's the window for the classroom number 2. And then this is the door. And so Mike had a few different door designs for this. And I think I might have them here. I think initially we were looking at a sort of a larger double door. But then just to sort of simplify things, we ended up going with still a fairly big, but single door. So this is actually a 4-foot wide door, and it's 7 foot 2 inches tall or something. So pretty massive door. We will make our own door. We have 1x sitting here, also rough sawn 1x pine 1x6. And we can get plywood here. So we've got 1/2-inch plywood. We're gonna make our typical Earthship door. And Mike, we won't use any glue. and we're gonna nail it together instead of screwing it together. And it's actually the way we used to make doors, like before all of us were born. Maybe not that long ago, but this is how we would have made doors in the late 80s, early 90s, just with nails and 1x6 and plywood. So that's what we're going to do here. Okay, so basically the components are in production. As the tires and blocks and as that wall is coming up, we have all components in production to be able to just plug into place. Here we go. Okay, what's that?
The ox. Better get the ox.
You got a question? Okay, you got a question.
So we have somebody asking, what is your favorite part of the build?
What is my favorite part of the build? It's this part. I love this part. This is so fun. that's just cranking out structure and using so much garbage from the streets and from the beach. There's like this public beach, which is just like piles and piles and piles of garbage, right? Because here there's no municipal garbage collection. It's not taken to some landfill and buried and hidden away. It's kind of very much a part of life. Everybody has sort of a burn pile, just like that one over there. And if they're lucky enough to have this amount of land, garbage is sort of part of everybody's life. So what I enjoy is building structure, and I really love using up just bag after bag and truckload after truckload of garbage in these things, and cleaning up the town, like literally going out. Deb takes a crew out every day. We go out and get like 20 bags of garbage on the moto truck. And it's like gone, in just like hours, it's gone. So anyway, I love this part of the build. Finishing is fun too, but I guess I get more pleasure out of the structure stuff, fast stuff. All right, we got another question. Let's go ahead and do it.
We got a question from Estonia asking if Earthship work in humid climates and how.
Okay, attendee from Estonia asking about Earthships in humid climates. Well, that's yes, we have built in many humid climates, and actually here it gets pretty darn humid, especially during rainy season. It's not as bad right now, but I wouldn't say it's dry out right now. But our cooling tubes are able to, as air comes in and then it's cooled off, often it'll drop some humidity. Like we'll get condensation on the sides of the cooling tubes that then we drain. These masonry ones, they'll have gravel on them. So any of that could run down the walls of the tubes and drain into the gravel. Or if our normal cooling tubes will drill holes in them so they can run moisture out. So they're effective at mitigating humidity to a degree, passively. And then, people do use an active system. A dehumidifier can easily be run on the solar electric system, no problem, just like how you might deal with it currently. But passively, we can take care of some humidity. Humidity is a challenge, admittedly, but yeah, we do it passively, and then it could be handled even further mechanically. Very good question. Thank you. Yeah, we'll do another question.
What are some of the different strategies for dry compared to humid climates?
Different strategies, dry climate, humid climate. Another good question. Well, one strategy would be to, in a humid climate, you could add cooling tubes. You could add to the length of the tube. So the air has to travel further and have more of an opportunity to have moisture condensed out of it onto the side of the tube. How that happens, warm air going in a cool tube. So you'll get some condensation on the side. So those probably are our primary ways. A drier climate is easier for any kind of construction, probably. Also in a humid climate, well, then sometimes in those climates, you might have termite or rot, or, like it might affect materials. And so we definitely have different structures, roof structures that, are more applicable in different climates. So a wood roof structure is great in a climate. But, in a moist climate, where there's termite or rot or whatever, we would probably do a structure more like what we're doing here with a masonry roof. So, yeah, good question. Thank you. All right, let's continue on a little bit, and then I'll get to some more questions in a bit. This will be, and it doesn't look like much yet, but there's our two courses pounded in the gravel, and this is the hand broken gravel. This is going to be a bathroom. It'll have 3 toilets, and a hand wash sink. It's going to be constructed primarily out of plastic bottle walls, and they'll just have a simple dome rebar plastered roof on it. We probably won't integrate insulation into it or anything. It's just a functional bathroom. It's not like you are in that space for a lot of time. So, you know, we'll go for more of a budget version of this thing that won't have the thermal dynamics of this building. So this is classroom number 1, and this one we're trying to get usable by the time we leave. And maybe let's go up on this ladder. Come up to 7. Okay. So when we're talking about how these buildings are going to stay cool passively, this is part of the solution. So here we have our thermal mass wall. So this is a tire wall. It's 30 inches thick, 2.5 feet thick, pounded with earth. That's our mass. But to have mass work, you have to insulate it. So if we just left this tire wall exposed, the sun that's beating down right now, you know, the mass is taking on that heat and it'll transfer it right into the inside. So like mass is a conduit for temperature. You can regulate temperature with mass if you insulate it away from, you know, what you don't want affecting your interior. So here it's always hot, but it would work same way if it's cold. So in Haiti, there's no really conventional insulation. We had class the other day, and there's not even really a Creole word for insulation, so it's not used at all. And so, you know, in a fancy house, well, they're just cranking the AC all the time, and you can literally on the sunny side, if you put your hand on the wall, I mean, you can feel heat coming through the wall, and the walls are typically made out of block, concrete block. So to stop that and to help regulate that, you have to insulate your mass wall, which is basically unheard of here. And this is part of what the learning that we're bringing. So since you can't buy insulation, well, then we're filling this wall with, I don't know why these are in here because these are our bags. We're filling this wall with single-use plastics and styrofoam. So there is an endless supply of single-use plastics and styrofoam here. It's all over the beaches. It's all over the streets. It's basically super, super available. So we just fill this cavity with them. And then as we fill it, we kind of stand on it and crush it. And what insulation is it's little air pockets. So we crush them, get all kinds of little air pockets. That's our insulation here. You know, we don't know the R value of it really. We don't know the thermal resistance. We do for sure know that it makes a break from the heat on this wall, and it's like a blanket around our nice cool mass wall. And we contain this single-use plastic insulation with a pretty big and tall plastic bottle wall laid in cement mortar. So, I mean, you start to get an idea of how much plastic bottles, even just alone, we use in each classroom. You know, we're actually making a dent in some of these piles that are around town. What else do we have here? This wall, we put in tiebacks to the tire work to make sure there's no separation from the tire wall to our bottle wall. We also put a ring of rebar every 5 or 6 courses. We omit a course of bottles and replace it with a piece of rebar. You know, this is earthquake. This is earthquake place. It's a seismic zone. It's hurricanes and earthquakes. So, you know, we use quite a bit of rebar in these to make sure that if there is a shake, you know, we're not going to lose sections of this bottle wall. The tire wall is pretty resilient to that. Okay, on top of the tires, then we have, it's a little hard to tell, but this is a concrete bond beam. That's formed by hand. We don't use form work. We call it a patty cake bond beam. And the dome, we set the dome on first, and it's elevated on these little H's of rebar. And then we add more rings of rebar, usually 1 or 2, all the way around. And then we surround it by hand forming a concrete bond beam. And we did this 2 days ago. And it works quite well. And so now we've got this concrete poured ring that's not just our dome poured in, but also extra rebar poured in. And that ring, you know, is what just keeps, you know, any thrust from the dome out on the tire wall. I mean, it's just this super strong ring. And this shape, this round shape, allows wind to pass around it, you know, and the dome shape allows wind to pass over. And so it's suitable for hurricanes and earthquakes. And the design is keeping the building cool. So that is our insulation cavity wall. Let's go inside this thing. Okay, so here's you can see how the door works once it's in place, where we have concrete columns coming up. You know, that steel there, the 4 pieces of steel, comes up and then is bent into the 2 pieces of steel that run around the whole beam. And we did form with wood up and over the door opening. And then we have bottle bricks that we use to bring in light. Glass isn't really a thing. I mean, maybe a little bit here and there. But we cut bottles in half and we make 8-inch long bottle bricks. And then we lay them, and it allows light to come in. This sits on its own little footing, a little 12 by 12 concrete pour. All right, let's go inside. Maybe turn around and we'll get some shot of that. And then move over just a little bit so you can see the light coming through. All right, so you can see the effect that the bottle bricks have. You know, they do allow light in. We always put a color facing inside and a clear bottle on the outside. So we pair them with color. Every color has a clear bottle. So this helps bring in light. And, you know, looks like stained glass. We have this thing because we just put the first coat on the roof today, which we call the spit coat. And you can see it's not full coverage. It is as we get lower because we can reach it, but we don't walk on this thing until we have about two coats of plaster on. So we got, we still have some light coming through, very typical of our spit coat. And how we do it is we just kind of, we just throw it and in a way that it kind of broadcasts across and spreads across. So that way we don't get on it until the second coat, because we don't want to see any deflection or any movement of this. And then we put in all these stilts to also, these are all temporary, of course, and they just help to stabilize the dome so we don't see any movement. And we'll leave these in here and until we get, we'll put on the spit coat and then at least 2 other coats, all about 1 inch thick. We might do a 4th coat on this one. This is actually the biggest one that we've ever done, 20-foot diameter. I think before we did an 18 diameter in Taos, maybe 16 foot diameter is pretty typical too. This is a 20-foot diameter. I mean, this is supposed to be, it's a classroom for 15 kids. I think it's an appropriate size for 15 students. But it is big and it's our biggest one. So I definitely, we went with extra stilts, just being super cautious with it. Tomorrow we'll get up on it and get that second coat on there. And then by the time the second coat is dry, you can totally walk on this thing. And then we'll remove these stilts. We'll probably give it a week with these things up after our third coat. And then, maybe that last week we'll start getting floor in here. We'll start doing more plaster work in here now. Now that we've got the spit coat on, you can also see the cooling tubes on either side of the window. So, this is identical to the one we looked at earlier, but it's just about a week further along. This has 10 days of work on it, which I think is actually pretty impressive. Coming over here, we've got our window, and this one will have 2 doors on it and hinge and open up. And this one's oriented pretty nicely, and the cooling tubes are too, because, most of the breezes come in off the water. So this one is really going to catch those ocean breezes. And when we may even configure our other tubes to always point out that way. And that's like a site specific thing and a decision that's made, on site. And this contributes to the cooling method. So we have our insulated thermal mass wall. So now we're not transferring hot temperature in, but how do we contribute to cooling the space? Well, the cooling tubes, they'll be 15 or 20 feet long in this case, homemade, like I said. They'll be buried. So hot air passes through and is cooled down by the more ground temperature earth surrounding the tube. And then what makes air want to come through the tube? Well, we have a very high ceiling, and then we have an opening at the top. And on top of that opening, we'll build about a 6-foot tall sort of cooling tower. And so all the hot air is going to rise up, and this is like Earthship, this is convection cooling. This is how we cool all our buildings. So as the hot air rises up and out of what is essentially a chimney, the cool air is going to come in and replace. And that cool air is in contact with the mass wall and keeps the mass cool. And the mass is insulated, so it stays cool. So that is our passive method of cooling in these spaces. All right, maybe we'll do a couple more questions.
We've done 60 minutes.
Okay, great.
We got 84 people.
Awesome. All right.
Somebody from Japan is asking if it's hard to stay hydrated here.
Okay, well, we have a lot of people watching, so this is super exciting. People from all over the place. We have a guest from Japan asking if it's hard for our crew, I think, to stay hydrated here. Well, yeah, we are all day long. Basically, just sweat is pouring off of you. So I don't know. We drink like a gallon of water, or 4 liters of water a day, pretty much. That's what I try to do. You got to stay super hydrated. I mean, today was pretty hot. And, you can feel it. You get this you got to get used to it too. Like the first day, I remember I kind of had I have a bit of a headache, and it's sort of the sun. And it's fairly intense here. So we drink a lot of water. And this town is very interesting. I don't know too much about it, but they have a desalinization plant. It's just a couple blocks down the road, solar power. So we get all our water from a solar powered desalinization plant. I think that was built, donated to the town by, country, I believe it was a European nonprofit, but anyway. So that's pretty cool unto itself. But yeah, we just drink a lot of water. And we got to make sure our volunteers drink a lot of water, because a lot of people aren't used to this. All right, we have another question.
Nikki Hall says hello.
All right. Hi, Nikki. Thank you for checking this out.
And we have a question asking if there are classes we can take.
Okay, so there's a question about classes. Yes, absolutely. We have an academy in Taos, and if you go to our website, earthship.com, we have in Taos academy classes 4 or 5 months out of the year. Usually the good months, the spring, summer, and fall academy sessions. We also have, and this is really mounting in popularity, especially now, we have an online academy. and it's more affordable. It's, I think, $1,500, and you can take it right there from your home. And then, our program is a 3-part program. You either attend an in-person academy or attend an online academy. And then you come to a build like this. So this build is not only, it's sort of a different kind of academy session, but it's an academy session. But as well as this is a field study. So when you do the in-person academy, you take a 1-month field study. That's like an intensive build like this. This is a 1-month field study. Several academy students are here taking it. If you do the online academy, I think you have to do 2 field studies, just because you don't get the hands-on you would in the in-person academy. But again, the online academy is great and super popular. And then the third component of our Earthship education is that you then complete an independent study, which doesn't have to be like build your own Earthship exactly. It could be a lot of different things. We've had people do all kinds of stuff. We had a guy make this like Earthship modeling kit for kids, so it can be a lot of different things, but you do have to complete an independent study. And then you graduate. And, we've had 2,500 students pass through the academy in the last 8 years or so. And so it's been a pretty popular program. So yeah, anybody that wants to get educated on this, taking the academy is a great way. If you don't have to take the academy, you could also just attend a field study, even if you haven't taken the academy, and that's a great way to get involved. So we also offer internships in Taos on months that we don't have the academy, mostly in the winter. Those are free, and you can learn a lot there too. So there's a lot of ways to get educated about Earthships. All right, I know our time is about done, but we got 3 more questions, so we'll definitely answer those. I mean, we don't really have anything else to do.
What is the company doing this project in Haiti, and how do you get involved with the Haiti project?
What is the company? Okay, so this project in particular is, so we have a for-profit side of the company, Earthship Biotexture. And then we have a nonprofit side of the company called Biotexture Planet Earth. So this project, we're not seeing any profit from. So this is a Biotexture Planet Earth project. And so you can get involved by going to biotextureplanetearth.com, and you can sign up there. This is the first phase. I forgot to mention, probably of 5 or 6 phases that we're going to be coming back to finish this thing. So there's lots of opportunity to get involved. Yep. And again, I think we got a donate button there. That's a good way to get involved. You can also email me. Like if you're not sure, you can't find or anything, if you got any questions or whatever you want to talk about this project, you can email me at Phil, Phil, @earthship.com. And I love talking about this project. We have a very similar project going on in, we have a field study in March in Taos. That might be full, where we're going to build the first Unity design. And then in May, we've got a in-person academy session in Puerto Rico, outside of San Juan. It is a build for a school. So that's a great one to get involved with. It's 1 month. It's identical design to this, although we'll have many evolutions after this, I'm sure. So that's in May. It's getting close to being full, but I think we're going to go big there. So I think we've already got between 35 and 40 students signed up for that, but we can even handle more than that. So that's a good one to get involved with. And again, you can always email me if I know this is a ton of information I've just thrown at you, so you can always email me for any clarifications.
Anthony asks if there's a temperature you have in mind that the huts will stay year round.
Okay, Anthony's asking is that Anthony that we know? Anyway, do we have a temperature that we're aiming for? Well, you know, in Taos, the global models that we've been building for, geez, like approaching 15 years. You know, in that climate, we've got those things, so they stay 70 degrees, which is usually what people set their thermostat to year round. I mean, it can be minus 20 Fahrenheit, I'm talking here, all the way up to, it can even reach 100 degrees in the summer in Taos, but these buildings sit at 70 degrees. So, but those are very, very expensive buildings. We've elaborated on them a lot, and they work we've built them all over the globe, actually. But these spaces, I think we would be probably doing pretty well to see these ones sit a little bit warmer than that, you know, maybe 75, 76 degrees, which is totally different than the high 80-degree temperatures we have outside. Very good for learning in a classroom. So that's the goal, Anthony, is get these things approaching 70 degrees.
One more.
We got one more question.
How do you get so much done in such a short time?
We have a great question. How do we get so much done in such a short time? Well, we have a killer 8-person or 9-person trained Earthship team here. You know, we got our Taos crew is here, and some of our European crew has been able to join us on this one. So we have a super trained up crew, used to building with a lot of people that, you know, maybe don't have a lot of experience. So the key to getting stuff done quick is a good crew, good management, which I guess that's kind of my department. I do the best I can. And then all the volunteers. I mean, we've got 16 or 17 off-island volunteers just working their butts off every day, all day out in the heat, you know, just falling right into like this machine. This kind of Earthship army is what we like to call it. And then combine that with another 15 or 17 local volunteers. I mean, we've got a big team. We've got experience doing this. We know the process. And so that's the key to getting it done quick. Yeah, we're looking at 10 days of work. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So thank you, big thank you to all the locals and off-islanders and the crew for making this thing happen. All right, so let's walk outside. Look back on this thing, maybe. All right, well, I guess that's it. Thanks for all the great questions, and thanks for everybody attending. So this is where we're at. We're gonna do this again. I think we'll give it another week and a half. Maybe we'll do this kind of middle of the last week, and so you can really see what we can get done in a quick amount of time. I didn't even touch on the cistern over here, but we'll talk about all that next time. Thanks for attending, and appreciate all your support and everybody who's donated and been involved. It's happening. Thank you.